Welcome to Art Should Be Illegal, a podcast about art and whether it holds any kind of value to society, and also possibly if censoring can help it sort of just putter along. My name is Liv. I am the person who's talking right now, and my pronouns are it and she.
My name is Elissa, and my pronouns are she and they.
My name is Annie. My pronouns are she and her, and when this sentence is over, I will have been the person that was talking.
Amazing. And today was my pick out of the pile of the large backlog of not yet censored items. We've been watching 2017's Atomic Blonde.
And it is an experience.
Liv, I want you to do us a favor and explain to us here right now why you chose this for us to watch.
As the second episode, why did you pick this? Defend your choice.
Wow, okay. I chose this movie because I really like Charlize Theron. She's pretty and smart, and in this movie she beats the shit out of so many people, and I'm here for it. It's the kind of slop that I can enjoy watching again and again and again, and I'm not going to turn my brain off completely. But I am only going to have the center that's active is going to be looking at Charlie's and going, fucking get him.
My brain doesn't shut off, so I spent the entire runtime of this movie, and I watched it twice, whooping and hollering. And not in a positive way. These were negative whoops. And
I was whooping and hollering in the positive, basically all of the time, except for the beginning. But before we get to that, Annie, do you have any initial impressions?
Well, I saw Atomic Blonde once before, and I had fallen asleep during it multiple times, which is not a
I had to wake you up. I remember bits and pieces.
Yes, we watched it together in a hotel room at like 2 a.m.
Yeah, I was high as a kite and you were asleep, and it was a great time, except for the time where I had to wake you up and go, look, she's beating the shit out of some West German cops, ? Anyway, we'll get back to that. The movie opens with just an iconic sentence.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Ronald Reagan jump scare.
It's Ronald Reagan saying, tear down this wall, and iconic beats are playing. It's Blue Monday, A New Order, and I'm here for it. I have a little bit of nostalgia, I will admit it. But also, a thing happens in this very intro that I found super duper annoying. It's like, here is this ginormous event. This is right before the end of history. And then the movie tells us, this movie is not about whatever's happening here. This is just like a backdrop.
This movie opens on a not joke, and it's a lie.
Yeah, because they say that this movie is not about the story of the Berlin Wall. And then they spend 2 hours talking about nothing but the Berlin Wall.
It's in like half the shots.
It is. I did also notice. What is the name of I think the director, David Leitch?
It's something like that, yeah.
David Lynch? This is a David Lynch joint?
No.
Whoa.
I wish.
I think that David Leitch wants to have sex with the Berlin Wall, and that the fact that he can't anymore because it's been torn down is like he's crying himself to sleep.
I'm sorry, I'm just imagining Atomic Blonde made by David Lynch now, and
that's fair.
Just having a nice little nap, like a daydream. Oh my god.
Yes, you wouldn't have to wear heels because she would be a clocky trans woman. It would be amazing.
Fix your hearts or die, motherfuckers.
I think the biggest problem here is that if you're gonna start it on a not joke, you need to at least make it funny, and the joke they have isn't funny. It's just this is not about that. No, you gotta go all in and be like, it's April 1805, Napoleon is master of Europe, only the British fleet stands before him, and this movie is about something entirely different. And then we just cut in and it's fucking Berlin.
This movie is about whalers. Either way, I don't actually know if we're in West or East Berlin at like this initial shot. Everything is like blue filtered. There's CGI snow. We're following a guy who's running to the Bangers 80s track, and he's just immediately crushed by a car, and it is so violent.
Yeah, my only note here is we love a pelvic fracture.
Oh yeah, we love a pelvic fracture, and then he's like crushed between. No wait, we are in West Berlin. I noted this. We're in West Berlin because all of the cars are from the West.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you can tell because all the cars are dog shit. Eastern Bloc cars for life.
Yeah, it's like Mercedes, fuck off with that Nazi shit. Just let's go.
At this point, I noted that I love that this movie cost $30 million to make, but it looks like shit. Like, it looks like it was a tenth of that because they just had to CG the guy getting hit by the car, and he doesn't move right because of that. It looks really fucking stupid. They couldn't just hit a stunt guy with a car like real filmmakers.
What does it even cost to hit a stunt guy with a car?
Say what you will about Glenn or Glenda, but that motherfucker really went out there on the street wearing that sweater to get those shots, and that's real filmmaking, and I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, unless you're executing stuntmen on the street, you're a coward.
Yes.
You heard it here first, folks.
Yeah. Either way, guy steps out of the car. He looks angry, like evil, ? And then he speaks in the most Icelandic accent I have heard in a very, very, very long time. And like, long story short, they have some kind of debate in the marketplace of ideas, and he pulls a gun and then just shoots him. And to add insult to injury, throws him in the Spree River.
Why is that insult?
It's just you've just run the guy over and then domed him off, and now you're throwing him in the Spree River. It just feels, I don't know, it's overkill.
It's a little bit of a dick move, especially when it's not like you need to hide the fucking body. What are the fucking cops gonna come and arrest you?
Yeah, they do. Like, everyone knows exactly who killed him, as we find out in the next scene. Like,
yes, everyone immediately knows.
Nobody's curious. Yeah, this is not a mystery that needs to be solved. The mystery is where is he, not who did it.
Yeah, I think it is important to point out right now that the Icelandic guy is, of course, Bakhtin, of the KGB officer, who is, and I have written here to my notes, not a nice man.
This is also the first event in this movie where neither of the characters are really characters in this movie, and the event has nothing to do with the actual action of the movie.
Oh yeah, no, he's Mr. Exposition, and he was run down by Comrade Exposition?
Comrade inciting incident.
Yeah.
Yes.
He does do one thing that is relevant to the plot. He takes a watch off of the first man's body. The first man is named Gascoigne, and his specter haunts later parts of this film, but barely.
Yeah,
barely.
My notes say Father Gascoigne, and in a minute we're gonna see some blood treatment, but we're not seeing blood treatment. Instead, we see Charlize Theron coming out of an ice bath, and this shot is this what you call full frontal? Either way, my notes just say hello.
It's not full frontal. We do see Charlize Theron nipple, but it's only from above, so I don't think that counts as full frontal. However, I do have a lot of opinions about hanging out in an ice bath like that. Hey, folks, don't do this. Do not do this.
Yeah, no matter how much your body hurt, don't give yourself hypothermia and then take the ice out of the bath in a cunty fashion and pour Stolichnaya in it.
No, don't give yourself frostbite of the labia minora. That is what you will accomplish.
Also, yes.
You don't understand. She's cold, okay? She's cold as ice, okay? It's a motif. You just don't get it.
Sure, yeah.
It's the motif that she's had a really bad time and now she's taking the edge off with an ice bath and then an icy drink.
Sure.
Yes.
It's subtle as a brick through a window. I love this. Everything about this scene is so dumb and it's all the way to the max. I have more note, like, Annie, do you want to go a little? And then I have even more shit about these 5 seconds of bathroom.
Yeah. Now, another thing that we do see is she is holding a photo of herself with the man that just died, Gascoigne.
Yeah, 2 notes about that bathroom. First of all, I wish I had a bathtub like that. That would be amazing.
Just like a clawfoot in the middle of the room.
Yeah, just... And also, I would like to own an apartment that overlooks Westminster.
Yeah.
That apartment is $200 million at this point.
Yes. You can't... when you're watching a film like this, you really can't start thinking about the realities of real estate. It's like watching a sitcom and being like, how do 3 people working on minimum wage afford a 400?
I'm gonna have to cross out a lot of my notes.
No. It was like the late 80s. So this could easily be afforded. One other thing I did notice is that there's there's a sitting chair, a really, really nice one, in the corner. And I know for a fact those chairs are $10,000 a piece.
Why do you know that
Ouch,
for a fact?
what the fuck?
Well, maybe I have chair autism?
Okay.
No further explanation needed.
I'm not going to ask anymore.
Yeah, those were all of my notes about that room. I have more notes about the very next scene.
Let's hear it.
Perfect.
It's like she's getting ready for a day at the office by lighting up a cigarette and packing nothing into her purse except for a 1960s high-power Browning. Is she gonna go and shoot her coworkers? What's going on?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, of course.
Also, her apartment sort of looks like a hotel room.
It's got the lights on the sides of the mirror, like a hotel room.
Yeah. Shit, maybe it is a hotel room. Either way, it's not explained. But she wears like a fit that can only be explained by, I don't know, it's like the 80s in one outfit.
Yes, I have a lot of notes about Charlize's outfits throughout this film. And this one, I just wrote like, yo, that fit. Jacket, glove, scarf, boot combo is destroying. White jacket with white belt is amazing. And it's all made out of plastic for no goddamn reason.
20 wardrobe changes in this thing. It's out of control.
Okay. No,
Yeah, every scene has a new wardrobe. It's great.
I was paying attention to this. This woman goes through like 3 or 4 wardrobe changes per day, canonically.
God, she must spend so much time on that.
Yeah, we're going to see a suitcase later on, and that suitcase cannot contain all of those outfits. I refuse to believe it. Either way, she walks to work, and we're reminded again that this is the 80s by like a big bus ad for some kind of anti-apartheid concert.
I didn't even catch that. I didn't see that.
I also didn't notice that. I was too busy.
Right, okay,
I was too busy staring at her outfit.
I mean, I have watched this movie several times now, and every time a new adventure.
When I went back and reviewed it, it became really apparent that there's no consistent tone to this movie. It's silly and ridiculous, which is how the start of this goes, but it also takes itself 100% seriously throughout. And it has nothing to say, but it needs you to know exactly how important what it has to say is. It's just throwing images at the viewer in the hope that eventually you'll be overwhelmed and put into some sort of stupidity-induced hypnotic state and just kind of receptive to whatever action is going on screen.
No doubt. This movie is so self-satisfied.
Yeah, but I think there's also, it's very self-satisfied because it has, and I think correctly identified that, like, this is right before history ended. Like, this is the last bit of history before history stops.
You are giving this movie more credit ideologically than I think it deserves.
Oh, absolutely.
It is a very lib movie. I'll give you that.
Oh my God. This movie has ideology, and I could not tell for the life of me if it knew that it did or if it didn't know at all.
This movie's ideology is that it's apolitical, and it's just calling it like it sees it.
This movie 100% has a thesis statement, but it's not until the back half.
Right?
Oh yeah. Either way, we get to work, which is MI6, super British. We see, did you notice the security guard?
I noticed that she just walked right between the metal detectors and the security guards opened the way for her and she never broke stride. And I do think that that's an interesting character moment. She's in control of the situation. Everyone moves aside for her. That's a good establishing moment. Show, don't tell. They do not continue this.
Yes.
Yeah, no. And also, I thought right after the scene, okay, we're going to see that Browning high power in a second when she guns down her boss or something because she didn't go through the metal detector. And then, no, we don't. Like, it's set up and then payoff.
No, listen, this entire framing device, which, once again, this film has a framing device. It's pointless. There's no reason for it. It adds nothing.
Yeah, if anything, just detracts from what's going on.
Yeah, so she's in an interrogation room for a debriefing after this mission that occurred with her bosses at MI6, and present also is someone from the CIA, who is guy I love to see, national treasure, John Goodman. Everybody clap.
It is. Yeah, I saw John Goodman and I immediately went, okay, we're in good hands.
Yeah, and listen, every time John Goodman's on screen, I'm happy that I'm a simple girl.
Oh, same.
Except for some of the lines they have him reading, yes. He is a joy even as the lines he's reading are insufferable.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but he's delivering them in a way that makes me believe them.
Right?
Yeah, I believe that he's a prick.
Yeah. And then also there is C of MI6 watching her through a one-way mirror. C being the actual code name for the head of MI6.
Yeah, he is insufferably British.
They're all insufferably British.
They are. They're too much. It's like the empire has died. It is dead in the ground, and we're just watching some people who are trying really, really their best at ignoring this fact. Meanwhile, the real hegemon of the world is like right there, and there's John Goodman.
And
Yeah.
this is the first scene where they really show how little they respect the audience. When they start going through the pictures of the events that we saw at the beginning, and they show the bullet that was found in the guy, and she has to
I have some
narrate,
notes.
oh, it was the Soviets, as though it would be somebody else, just to make sure everyone knows the Soviets were the guys in charge of East Berlin.
Yeah, like, okay, I have so many things to say about this. First of all, the East Berlin was very much in control of the East German government, and like the Stasi was a very effective intelligence gathering operation. But the gun, and I have to laser focus in on this shit because they say like, oh yeah, it's like a 7.62 Tokarev that was taken out of his body. Yeah, but that's not the gun that's being used to shoot him. That is a Stechkin APS.
Fucking prop department called the fuck out.
Yeah, and it's even worse because later on we will see Makarovs and we will see things chambered in 7.62, and they could just have used those guns, but we didn't.
I gotta say, as someone that doesn't give a shit about guns, I did not notice or care.
Yeah, no. My main complaint with it was that she says Soviets out loud, like she's the kind of woman that just goes around announcing the country of origin of every object she sees. Like she's the kind of person that will point at a car going by and just tell anyone within earshot where it was made. Like actually, they make those in Canada.
She takes a sip of scotch. Ireland.
Yes, exactly.
It is a little weird because who else would be operating in East Berlin at this time, or it was West Berlin, but never mind that. Who else would be operating in Berlin during the Cold War? Like you wouldn't see like
The East Germans?
Yeah, exactly. But like you would go like, oh yeah, it's like the Eastern Bloc powers who are doing this, like the Poles or the Czechs or whatever. You wouldn't see a dead spy and then go, oh, the South Africans.
That line is in there because they don't trust people to know what countries were involved in the Cold War.
Yeah.
Okay. This scene exists for a purpose, which we should get to. So they're setting up the fact that this object that the bad man in the first scene took from the dead guy Gascoigne on his watch is a list.
Yeah.
Yes. He was after a microfilm called The List. What's on it, you ask? Well,
Yeah.
it's a list.
By the way, capital T, capital L, the list. Code name, the list.
Yes.
Okay, sure. Why not?
They also named their spy Spyglass. So they were really like putting in the hours coming up with cool code names.
Yeah. So this list allegedly contains like all of the identities and all of the like deeds sorted and whatever of all of the agents working in Berlin, the world. That's not super clear.
Yeah.
But they say, and I quote, it could extend the Cold War for another 40 years. What the fuck does that mean?
Yeah, I spent all movie trying to figure out how that could possibly be the case, like how that made any sense. And it's just like they made up a number to make it sound important.
Yeah, how could this extend the Cold War by 1 year? It's just all of the war crimes these war criminals committed. Who cares?
Yeah. Also, it's November of 1989. The wall is coming down in like 2 days.
Yeah,
To be fair,
and the wall coming down has
over.
nothing to do with the events of the movie. It's happening in parallel. Like,
To be fair,
Yeah.
they don't know that. So I'm going to give them the credit on that one. But I don't understand why the movie is trying to convince us that this is the case. You could just say, hey, we're MI6. Our dirty laundry is going to be aired if this list gets out. That's not good for us. You'll get killed personally, Charlize Theron.
yeah.
Yeah, there's a number if someone gets that list.
But the problem is that this movie has an ideology. As I said, it believes this when it says it.
Yeah. Another thing that was sort of troubling me is that, okay, so the Stasi, the East German state security agency, have the list of all these things. What makes anyone in this movie think that that list is not sent immediately to Moscow?
Right. That's the thing that I don't get. It seems like, okay, so like they've already got it, right?
Yeah, and like surely that list is not like, oh, it's an NFT of a list. It only exists in one space. No. It's just it's microfilm, and that can be, and I'm pretty certain of this, copied.
Yeah, it was, but like to be fair, it was put together by an East German guy that is defecting. So like if you could say that he didn't make it with the knowledge of the rest of the Stasi. My question though becomes, how did he get all the information on the Western spies that are operating? Like,
Well, I would assume that the Stasi used their 250,000 informants to just put the pieces together. Although we are being
that who gives a
we're
shit?
being very, 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 yeah.
Who gives a shit if the KGB get this? They already have that information.
It's so confusing, and it just
Oh god.
the plot of this is so muddled.
It is.
They really don't want you thinking about any part of it because
Yeah.
it gets really confusing really fast.
The real point about the list is that it's a MacGuffin. It's
Yes.
what everyone
Yeah.
wants. That's it. Don't think about it too much.
Yeah. And the real point of this scene, and this will be the last thing I will say about this before we move on, is it sets up the character of Atomic Blonde as she's an amazing woman and beautiful, and she's always ready to call the some guy from the CIA.
Cocksucker.
I like that because of the magic of dialogue editing. It sounds like it's the same volume as everything else she says.
Yeah.
But they have to pretend that she's whispering it and just assume the audience will go along with that.
Yeah. Do you want to play the tape back so we can hear you say
Cocksucker.
again? And I loved it. I like it, like a little jab.
But also in this scene, we set up one of the deuteragonist of this film, James McAvoy playing Percival.
David
something
Percival,
I don't
our
care.
number one man in Berlin.
The closest thing to an actual character in this movie.
I think that he is an actual character, and I ascribe that 100% to James McAvoy just having fun with it. Like, he is chewing on the scenery this entire movie, and I enjoy it.
Absolutely.
He plays an annoying British guy really well.
He does.
Yeah, he does. But the way that we're introduced to him is on an overhead projector. We see, like, his file photo from MI6 being like given to, I think Lorraine is Charlize Theron's character. And he's got like, he's wearing a tuxedo. It's very James Bond. And then we smash cut.
I think he's wearing a bow tie. He looks like a schoolboy.
He is wearing a bow tie, yeah.
Oh, well, I read that wrong. Either way, it still works as juxtaposition.
Yeah, it's like he's like a little cutie.
Because we jump cut from, or we match cut. Sorry, Elissa is going to get mad at me. We match cut from that to like current Percival in East Berlin, dressed like a fucking Mad Max character, yelling at a bunch of like punks at a party. And like that's kind of funny. That's kind of like, oh, it's a fun little match cut. And then he immediately starts mugging the camera and talking directly to the audience. And I'm trying to figure out, what the fuck is this trying to accomplish? Like, are we supposed to be put off balance by it? Like, oh, we're not expecting to be directly addressed by the character. It comes out of nowhere. And then I realized that they're just trying to recreate a panel from the comic book.
Is that what it is? Because I was like, when I saw that, he does this twice in the movie. And both times it sucks.
Yeah, and he's the only one who does it.
And he's the only one that does it. And it's completely out of step with everything else in the movie. It's baffling. It's a non sequitur.
I have a hypothesis that every shot that is intentionally created, and there are a lot of them in this film that don't really fit with any of the other action happening, is just a panel from the comic book that's been lifted.
It's so fucking annoying. I hate that so much.
I
Adapt your fucking
I hate
It
that.
really is.
I'll go all the way and make it like a panel for panel thing. Like every panel is very clearly depicted in the movie.
Yeah.
I think we might see this later on. There's like some kind of sex club. We will get to that.
Yeah.
So he is at some kind of punk party, and my first note said, "Wait, there's like the head of the Berlin station is just operating basically out in the open, and the Stasi isn't just on his ass." And then cut to the Stasi's on his ass.
Oh, yeah. And this kind of brings us to something about this film that is so annoying. And it's really something about like all spy movies that I despise, which is everybody knows who everybody is and aren't immediately shooting each other in the head.
Yes.
Makes no sense.
Everything is like it's all the same, like 7 or 8 dudes that are responsible for absolutely everything. They they already know each other. They are familiar with each other's reputations, and just they're frustrated with each other, but not enough to just go kill each other. Also, this is the first scene where we establish a very important detail in this movie, which is that this is actually a backdoor remake of Footloose, and dancing is illegal.
You're so right. Oh my God.
Yeah, and it's going to come up like 4 times in this movie that dancing is illegal and the cops are cracking down. Intelligence services are cracking down. They are fucking black bagging people for like doing little jigs and such.
Welcome to Beaumont, Germany.
If you cut a rug in this town, you are fucked.
There is some historicity to this, though, because in East Germany, there was some documentation out of the Stasi containing undesirable elements of society, like skinheads and punks. If you have a mohawk, ooh, are you being like anti-worker?
Yeah. Well, another thing happens at this party, which is Spyglass, the guy that made the list, comes and talks to Percival and is like, hey, you're going to get me out of East Berlin, right? They're going to kill me.
Yeah. And he doesn't care.
Yeah. Percival's like, hey, I don't have the list. And he doesn't have the list because the guy that had it died. I don't get a list. You don't get out. And then Spyglass is like, oh, I memorized the entire list. So I am the list.
Yeah, I have made myself the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
Yes.
So now Percival will help get him out of East Berlin. That's the plot.
There's another note I made says that like he is the most Stasi-looking fucker in the world. Like he has the trench coat made of wool and the big glasses and the mustache is just. It's if you asked me to describe a Stasi officer, I would go, oh, it's him. He's also extremely fish out of water because like his like the color contrast between him in his like grayish weird suit and glasses and just normal haircut, just next to an array of punks. It's great.
Yeah, and honestly, it does look like a fun party. I'd go.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We also in this scene we're also introduced to a guy I love to see, Bill Skarsgård, who is he'll be important later, but like he's also here. He's tending
Wait, this
bar.
is a Skarsgård?
Yeah.
Yes. It's the other one.
I didn't even know that. Oh my God.
They got like 1,000 of them running around. It's
There's like a bunch
perfectly
of them.
reasonable to not know all of them. It's like not knowing all the Baldwins.
I only know Stellan.
Yeah, I mean the greats.
Yeah.
My notes say some more MI6 spy nonsense.
Yeah, so the East Germans come by, or the KGB. I don't fucking know who these people are. They come by.
It's okay. The movie doesn't know the difference either.
No, these are East German police in Trabants.
No, but like the guy in charge of them is clearly like high up at KGB later in the film.
Oh, you're jumping ahead. Like at the party, East German police shows up, and Spyglass and Percival sort of try to leave, and then Percival they're stopped by cops at like they're like going out the back or whatever, and they meet 2 cops, and Percival beats the shit out of them.
Oh, I see. You see, this exact scene happens again later, and I mixed them up.
It does, but it's like just before the cops when they're like, oh, we gotta go out the back. Help me, Bill Skarsgård, and then.
All right, I'll get you across.
You're a good man, Percival.
Fuck off.
Just love that shit. It's like here's Spyglass is so sincere, and then
Percy, our boy Big Purse.
Yeah, our boy Big Purse.
Oh,
He's just here.
Yeah, and I mean, like throughout the entire film, Spyglass is just a wife guy.
Yeah, he really is. I love that they leave the party because it's getting ruined by.
It's getting raided by the police.
Yes, and he beats the shit. He sends fucking Spyglass on his way and beats the shit out of the 2 cops, steals their car, drives it at the wall.
No, steals their car and their clothes. He grabs a East German police officer greatcoat and hat.
Yeah, and then we get just the scene where he's back at the wall and he's gonna get in there through a sewer that connects between the two sides of the city, I guess.
Yeah,
The world's biggest sewer.
yeah. Apparently, underneath the no man's land between the Berlin Wall and East Berlin, there is like a grate you can hop down into the world's biggest sewer that connects west and east.
Just an unsecured grate that allows you really easy, clean, simple access to either side. And people aren't using this the whole movie.
Oh yeah, no. I did love this scene though because it's like the flaming car and the oranges and the blue backdrop of the city, and like those 4 or 5 guys doing movement and fire with their AKMSs.
Yeah, I love the world's dumbest guys just hosing a flaming car that has crashed down with like several mags of bullets each.
Yeah, no one could be allowed in that car, and they just destroy it.
I have 2 questions about this for these guys. A, do you think that there's anyone still alive in there? Really? And B, if there is, why are you shooting at them? Why aren't you trying to help them? They're on fire.
Oh no. The standing order for guards on the Berlin Wall was to shoot to kill.
I see. Okay.
If you tried crossing between east and west and you went into that zone, you would be shot.
Okay. Fair enough. Well, then why do you think anyone's still alive in there?
Well, I mean, bullets are cheap. Better safe than sorry.
I guess.
And this is also where we get a comedic drop because Percival doesn't want to bring the hat of this German police officer into the West.
What's the deal there? I don't get that.
I think it's played for laughs. It's just like
it's not funny.
Once again, this movie does not have a consistent tone.
It really doesn't.
It really doesn't, but it goes into a very nice cover. I have a clip of Major Tom in German as we see Lorraine flying into West Berlin.
Yeah. And she flies in wearing a pinstripe corset, which I would die for that.
Same.
Thank you. But when she gets to the airport, she goes through passport control. And this time when she goes through security, instead of being able to bowl right through it and people moving things aside for her, she is confronted wordlessly by the passport control agent, and she has to remove her sunglasses.
Yeah.
See, as she enters the world of Berlin, she loses some control.
Ooh.
Symbolism.
It really makes you think.
Although, having been through a number of passport controls, let me tell you, this is like the least invasive and quickest turnaround on entering country I've seen in a long time. It was like, take off your glasses. Okay, stamp. Click.
Yeah, I wish.
Yeah, we're then treated to a shot of fucking Big Purse in bed with a cast on his arm for some reason and a pile of naked women he has acquired somewhere between his apartment and the sewer.
Yeah.
He's also strapped to the bed by the wrist, which, have fun.
Yeah, I mean, that looks really fun, although those women do look kind of young.
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it.
They don't come back later.
They're not characters in this movie.
Oh no, they're oh god, this is so misogynist. They're just a set piece.
They are, though.
See, Percival fucks. Isn't he cool? He fucks.
Oh god.
But he's kinky.
The first act of this movie is mostly trying to establish him as being really cool.
And saying something about politics. No.
Yeah. So Charlize walks out of the airport and into like a car. She meets this guy who's like, "Oh, Percival's not here. He sent us instead."
Yeah, we're just like two really helpful guys.
Yeah, so she gets in the car.
She's picked up, she sees a gun, and then one of them goes, "You remember Mr. Bremovich?" And like hands her a business card for a location that we will get to later. Like in an hour or so, we'll get to this location.
Yeah. And then she notices that David Percival is in a car behind them. And at this point, she takes off her high heel and starts beating the other people in the car with it.
Yeah. Well, one of them screams, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, I love this scene a lot.
Yeah. Now, there is something that I think we should just like flat out say. There is a twist at the end of this movie, which is there is a double agent. Everyone knows that there's a double agent working in Berlin named Satchel, who is supposed to be working for the West, but is actually working for the KGB. And we're supposed to be like, oh, is Percival Satchel? No, Charlize is Satchel.
Yeah.
She is the whole time.
Yeah, this is the actual main plot of this movie.
And
It's just
Yeah.
not clear initially.
it's not
Yeah,
clear until like the last, I want to say 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so these dudes know her. They know Charlize.
Because everyone knows
and
everyone in Berlin, the city of spies.
The city with 10 people, because we're seeing the same handful of dudes over and over again.
Yeah, about
So like imagine you work at the post office and then one time you're like your fellow postal worker just starts beating the shit out of you with their heel for no reason.
Yes.
What are you doing is a pretty understandable response.
that being said, it is I do love the fight scene, like the close action of Charlize Theron beating the shit out of two men in a car. It does something for me.
Yeah, I like the part where the guy keeps driving even though his bud is dangling out of the side of the car and he could just use the brakes at any time. And also when he's still driving, trying to aim a gun at her, but just sort of points the gun at the back windshield and just like hopes for the best. This is the first time somebody just tries to thrust a gun at her as an attack.
Absolutely. Side note, if you're in a car and a gun is fired, you're now very, very deafened. You will not hear.
Nobody in that car is hearing anything for a while.
Yeah.
Although, on the other hand, I will give a little bit of props to David Leitch for not playing the very annoying high-pitched whining noise that you often hear when like a loud bang happens in movies.
Oh yeah, that'd be annoying.
I mean, yeah, it would be really annoying if he did that. Anyway.
Fortunately, there's nothing annoying about this movie.
Oh no.
No, it's not annoying at all. Instead, what happens is she induces the car to flip over, and when she realizes this is about to happen, she grabbed the seatbelt really tight, and you know, she's okay now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. If you're wearing high heels and you grab onto your seatbelt without being fastened in really, really tight, then you're gonna be okay in a car crash.
Yeah, in a rollover car crash.
The thing about seatbelts is holding onto one is exactly the same as wearing it. It's not like a restraint. It's just a small invulnerability field generator. And if you have it grabbed tightly enough, you're in good shape.
Yeah. So the car flips over, and then David Percival, who's been following them in his shitty little car, runs up to the car. And she shoots at him, and we're establishing that there's like lack of trust between them. Whatever, I don't care. She gets in his car and they drive away.
I do have a drop that I found extremely funny because, again, we're seeing James McAvoy just chomping at every bit of scenery.
Let me help you with your bags.
I laugh. Just say him saying, "Oh, let me just help you," and just dumping out the bags on the floor and then just moving on.
I did enjoy that. That was a funny little bit. And then they kidnap one of the KGB guys.
This guy Goon 3, who is also like basically a main character because he is there for every major conflict in the movie.
I mean, this movie only has 10 people in it.
Right.
Yeah. So they kidnap him temporarily and then like shove him at the Soviet embassy.
Yeah, the Soviet consulate in West Berlin. I would have thought it would be in East Berlin.
I mean, it would make sense for there to be another one, but the capital of West Germany was in Bonn.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
West Berlin.
Something does happen. They talk about his hair.
Oh my God.
He's like,
Disastrous Sinead O'Connor hair.
Irish singer.
Then so John Goodman does this turn when she says Sinead O'Connor to make sure that the audience knows who Sinead O'Connor is, which is like, why even fucking make the reference if you're afraid the audience isn't going to get it? The whole point of making the reference is that the audience is going to get it. You're not accomplishing anything if you have to do. Also, you don't have to explain who people are. Like if people don't get something, they just go, "Oh, okay, must be a person."
yeah.
Like you don't need to, every time a celebrity is mentioned, you don't need to be like, just so you know, that celebrity was famous in the 80s.
Yeah. He also says,
I asked him what the deal was with that, and he said, it's to blend in.
Want to touch it?
and I mean,
Oh my God.
I've said this. Yeah. And then,
To blend in the East.
and you know, whom's among us?
I don't.
What are you doing?
Sending a message to a fascist pig.
James McAvoy calls the Soviets fascists.
Yes. It's
What?
so ridiculous.
Ah, yes, the fascist pig, the workers at the embassy of the USSR.
Yes.
I hate this so much. You can't call the Soviets fascists, even if you hate them. They're just they're not.
It's the one thing you cannot call them.
It's the one thing that they are not.
Yeah, what I think is going on here is that remember, we were the good guys and they were bad, but we don't really have a word for bad except for communist, and we don't want to use it here, so we say fascist.
Yeah.
We want this to get distributed in China, so we can't use communist as a pejorative.
I wanted to give this movie a little bit of credit and think, like, well, maybe the character is supposed to have confused politics. But no, this is never, like, brought up a thing again as of, like, David Percival just, like, doesn't understand what's going on. He knows what's going on, he just doesn't care.
Right.
So it's just the movie, like, wanting to have its cake and eat it too, regarding who's the good guys and who's the bad guys here.
It absolutely is. And I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to David Leitch and go like, ooh, there are no good or bad guys. But it doesn't come out like that.
No.
The next scene where they've got the people that they arrested for dancing.
Oh god,
and
the dance
we're
police.
establishing this really is Footloose. That's where we truly establish that they don't know the difference between Soviets and Nazis. They're just Nazis.
Yeah, and also apparently the East German police is being run by the KGB.
Yes. They're all one homogenous sort of entity.
Yeah, one homogenous bad guy brackets fascists.
Yes.
Yeah, no, oh god, this scene, like, they've captured 5 or 6 guys who don't wear suits and ties. They're on their knees and they're being interrogated by Bremovich, who is evil and cannot for the life of him do an accent. He is incapable of Russian accent and of German accent. It's like, I kind of wish he just would not do it, or alternatively, just cast a Russian speaker. There's a lot of them, and some of them are really, really good, and you could just have picked up any one of them.
The accents are fascinating in this.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, this is totally just like a meet the Nazis scene. Like, it has no purpose beyond just showing how brutal his guy is. It's like, this guy is a real dick. Like, if you can't breakdance, he will just fucking kill you.
Yeah. And like he plays music. Oh no, it's music from the West, and then beats up a kid with a skateboard. It's 99 Luftballon and beating a kid up with a skateboard at the same time. But I noticed that the music is sort of put in the foreground of the shot, and he's shouting at them at the same time. And are we meant to believe that like anyone can hear anything that's going on?
Yeah. My only note here is, sir, please stop getting blood on the camera lens.
Yeah. Here's the problem. The editing in this movie is really good, and the direction is really bad. So you get like, hey, editor, you should put some blood on the lens. That'll look really cool. And it doesn't look cool. But they did a good job of putting it there.
I don't know. I think, I mean, it's gruesome, but it works for me. I go, yeah, no, he is it has,
but it's so outside the tone of the film. Like, the tone has been like wacky silly, and now it's suddenly like squelchy blood getting on the camera lens and a brutal beating.
Yeah.
What are we going for here?
It's silly, and then suddenly we're in that scene from Wanted where a guy gets his face just demolished with a keyboard.
I have never seen the film Wanted, and I never will. That is not a challenge for one of you to pick that movie.
Oh no, I desperately don't want to watch the movie again.
But I don't know what you're talking about.
But yeah, this is all just a kind of wildly inefficient filmmaking. Like, so much time and dialogue is spent just accomplishing nothing. We're establishing that this guy sucks.
Yeah, we're establishing that this KGB officer is a bad person.
Yes, and that he's not a real character. He doesn't have like motivations. He doesn't have character traits. This is an anti-character establishment scene. We are establishing that he is not a character.
Yeah, we're also right after this, we're introduced to Sophia Botella, who's playing a beautiful French woman.
Oh yeah.
We actually saw her briefly before this. When when Charlize Theron was landing at the airport. She's in there, I believe, reporting on this on the phone.
Yeah.
She is. But we see her again. I don't have the context for seeing her other than we see her.
She doesn't say anything. We don't hear her
she
name.
doesn't do anything until a little bit later.
Yep.
She's just like observing. She's taking photos and stuff.
Yeah. Anyway, this is Bella Delphine. Delphine Sabel.
LaSalle. Fucking just names. God. But we don't get to interact with her yet. She's just there because we're flashing forward.
Back to the interrogation room. And this is one of those things, like I was saying, about the editing is good. The decision making, as far as how they do those edits, very bad. Because we get that moment there where she's like, in the movies when they do that film burning effect, where the film slows down and then catches on fire, and then they do that edit just to make sure that you know exactly what she's talking about.
My note says, then Charlize addresses us, the audience, directly and says, Berlin is like when your film is ruined, which I think is very apt.
Yes.
Yeah. Did she know? Did she know this movie was not going well?
I think she had a blast.
I don't think anyone involved to this day thinks that this movie didn't go well.
I should mention this movie is also produced by Charlize Theron.
Yeah, she was an executive producer on this.
Yeah.
This is a passion project for her.
Yeah, she was like, I want to beat the shit out of cops. And then David Leitch asked, East or West German cops? And she said, dealer's choice.
I get the impression she did actually spend several years trying to get this made. Like, she was really serious about this, really believed in it, and this is what it was.
Good for her. I love that for her. Before we move on from this scene, I do want to make a brief comment on her outfit. It's a skirt suit made of either hempen fleece or tweed. I couldn't quite figure it out. Does not look good. Could not be comfortable. 2 out of 10.
And this next bit is a lot of cuts because I have notes that say, in Germany, we don't make mistakes, followed directly by tits in ice bath. I think I might be missing something.
She goes to the morgue to pick up Gascoigne's body at this point. That's when she's wearing this tweed outfit. And there's a mistake with the visa number. Honestly, this subplot makes no sense, adds nothing, and is really confusing.
It also goes nowhere. It's not mentioned again.
Yeah.
Right.
It's so stupid. But there's some mistake with the documentation that she made. She made the mistake, she doctored it. And then the German coroner is like, oh, we don't make mistakes in Germany. And I'm like, does this movie have ideology?
Oh no, she says, in Germany, we don't make simple mistakes.
We only make good ones.
Yeah. So some ideology might be going on here.
Okay. But apparently once she picked up the body, her visa was going to be voided. And I'm like, you work for the British intelligence service. Germany is an ally. Why not just get a visa? What?
Right.
What is happening? Where's the German intelligence service anyway?
They just don't exist. They don't exist.
Yeah, they don't exist and did not operate in West Germany. No, I have no idea. Where did they go?
I don't.
It's just British people under the partial observation of Americans. That's it.
Yeah. Well, whatever. We then cut back to her hotel room in West Berlin where she's wearing a t-shirt that says Boy London on her. That's fun.
Oh, I don't know.
What is just the most aggressively overlit space I've ever seen in my life? What the fuck is going on in that apartment? How do those two have a conversation with that much neon in there? Does anybody remember how loud those lights are? Can you imagine the buzzing? It's like they're trying to do Suspiria in here with the amount of just fucking ridiculous lighting.
My notes say bisexual lighting.
Then she decides to go to Gascoigne's apartment. I am trying to speed through this plot. I do not care.
There's so much of it and it's so
There's
bad.
so much of it. It's just next location in the movie.
It is.
So she decides that she's going to go to Gascoigne's apartment. Once again, for listeners that don't remember, the guy that died at the beginning of the movie, okay? Just so that we're clear. And she's looking for the list. Let's not lose sight of that.
Yes, she's looking for the thing and finds nothing. That scene goes nowhere.
Yeah, but she is wearing an outfit. It is a white suede jacket with a cotton dress and thigh-high black boots. Does not work. It's two accent pieces together. It's a hat on a hat. I don't like it.
There is one other important scene here that comes actually just before that, which is where she goes and meets with the watchmaker, who is also not a character and doesn't directly play into any of the action, but he makes watches that have secret codes in them.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
meant to be like an information broker, but that does not come across at all.
Yeah, it doesn't come across because he's in two scenes. It doesn't do anything.
It's revealed at the end of the film that he works for the CIA. That's
yes. Yeah. But he shows up twice and doesn't really do anything. And like the relevance only becomes apparent because of things happening outside of there. And you never see anything with him develop. He appears in two scenes. And then later on, it's like, oh, by the way, that guy was important, just so you know.
Yeah. Well, that fight scene that we're glossing through, I do have one note from it, which is just Wilhelm scream spotted.
Yeah, I was so mad when I heard that.
Oh, wait, is that?
I think I just wrote fuck off in my notes.
Oh no, I have like actual notes because like right before that, Charlize Theron wakes up in her bed to bisexual lighting and remember like the dude who died, Gascoigne.
Yeah.
And
then, apparently she was sleeping with him.
Yeah, and then goes to his apartment.
Yes.
And my notes say, if I knew I'd be beating up 6 West German cops, I would have worn the white plastic trench coat.
I don't understand why she says that.
I don't know. Fighting in knee-high boots is difficult, but like she seems to work it pretty well. No, from that scene, there is one shot I really did like. You can see you see Atomic Blonde in one half of the shot, and in the other shot, it's a mirror where you can see the cop who's about to be like killed, I assume.
Why would he not see her in that mirror? That's all I could think during that scene.
Oh, it's a mirrored closet door that's open.
Yeah, but why could he not see her through it?
Right.
Like, if she could see him in the reflection, why couldn't he see her?
It's only us. We, the audience, can see everything. Atomic Blonde can't see anything. The cop doesn't know that he's about to get whipped in the dick with a garden hose.
Yeah, okay. I hated this. A garden hose is not an effective weapon. You know what this is giving? This is giving that scene in the first Avengers movie when Scarlett Johansson whips a guy with her hair.
I'm really drawing a blank here.
I don't know. I've never seen that. It sounds really funny though.
It's so stupid. They add like a bullwhip sound effect to it to like try and give it some punch.
Oh my god!
But it's like, imagine somebody like brushing their hair on your face. That's essentially what it is.
So anyway, she jumps from one story to another by way of garden hose and strangling a cop. And my notes say that cop being strangled is dead, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Like his neck is broken, and
yeah, that's a C2 fracture.
She leaves the apartment complex, but beats 2 cops up beforehand, just in case.
Fun.
No, she covers up her face with her turtlenecks and just effortlessly ruins the cops.
Just in case. She really didn't need to, but she did anyway.
Sure.
One other note before we move forward anymore that I want to address about going back to the watchmaker scene. So one thing
you just cannot shut up about this watchmaker scene.
It pisses me off. And there's one thing in here that really annoys me, which is that you can tell that they were just way out of their depth with the space and had no idea how to shoot this scene because they're not speaking directly to each other. I think it's the only time it happens in the movie that characters are doing that. And so there's a thing in filmmaking that you'll hear called a couple of things, but it's the 180 rule, right? Like there's an axis that goes down the face of any character. You can shoot from one side of a person, and it's basically what it's saying is like a conversation needs to have 2 sides. If you're seeing the right side of one person's face, you should see the left side of the other person's face so you can tell that they're talking to each other, and it's not disorienting. And they cannot pull this off because the characters are not looking directly at each other. It's normal to have issues when there are more than 2 people having a conversation in a scene, but this is just 2 people talking that aren't looking at each other, and they keep breaking the axis. It's so annoying.
It's kind of interesting because Mr. Robot solved this one. Like, if you want to have your scenes be unnerving, just have one person in shot talking to air and then cut to the other person speaking, but like without having them look in the direction of the camera. It's eerie, it's weird. They could have done that, but no.
Yeah. So anyway, moving on.
Moving swiftly on.
Okay.
I have
Now that I have all of that out of my system.
I have so many notes, and this one is just fishnet suit and black underwear fit goes hard. And like we're seeing some sort of changing scene. It's just Charlize Theron showing off, which I always appreciate. And
Next location.
yeah, we get to next, but
Yes.
we get to next location by going next to the Berlin Wall, which is the only place in the city outside is next to that goddamn wall.
I mean, to be fair, this is Percival's apartment, and him living right next to the Berlin Wall actually like makes sense for his character. So I wasn't that upset about it.
I thought it was Charlize Theron we were following.
Right. But she is going to Percival's apartment.
Oh, right. Okay, that makes sense.
But she is wearing a black reefer overcoat with a black skirt and blouse and a green checkered scarf. It is love it.
Which, like, it's a good fit if you're going to meet the head of the Berlin station.
Sure. Yeah.
So I have a note. We're now moving into the second act, and they did just in like the transition before this play that fucking audio clip of her remarking about the Soviet bullet again, which pissed me off because they were just giving an end of first act reminder to the audience that they are in fact dealing the Soviet Union as an adversary. But yeah, then we finish out the first act at like 28 minutes, which is crazy. It's like it takes them under 30 minutes to get through the first act, and in a movie that's almost 2 hours long. The pacing is weird in this.
Yes.
Well, but to be fair, it feels like more than half the film because we are 1/4 of the way through my movie and we are halfway through my notes.
Yes, yeah.
So
same.
much happens in this first half hour.
Yeah, they jam shit in there like it's going to be an 80-minute movie, and then they drag this shit out as much as possible.
Yeah, it's the first act of this film is exhausting.
It's almost as fast as like the first act of a movie like From Beyond or something, where it's just like, we're going to have 2 scenes, we're going to knock out all the exposition in one go, and then people are going to start turning into monsters and shit's going to get crazy.
That would have been a better movie.
Yeah. I also have a note in here at this point that they shot this whole movie on anamorphics. You can tell. So what that means basically is it's a special lens that compresses the image, and then you de-squeeze it in post, and it gives you a wider image.
Oh, that's why it all looks a little off.
Yeah, so you can see like there'll be barrel distortion on the edges of the screen, and like the bokeh, the out of focus stuff in the background will have this sort of oval shape. And that's because they're shooting on those. They're not really necessary these days. They used to be used in order to make widescreen work, or you just couldn't do widescreen. These days you can just shoot something and crop into it. So it's a lot easier, but it does give it a specific look and style. And I will give them this much. Until the very end of the movie, they are fairly disciplined with the anamorphics, and they aren't constantly shining lights directly at the cameras. When you do that with an anamorphic lens, it creates a lens flare that takes up like the whole screen. And that's how you get the J.J. Abrams look.
Oh.
And a lot of people only use those lenses these days to make their shit look like J.J. Abrams, and they avoid that for 90% of this movie. So good job to them for almost being disciplined enough to do something that isn't like an annoying piece of shit move. They almost pulled it off.
Yeah. So we're in Percival's apartment, and that scene goes nowhere.
To be fair, there is a reason for this scene in terms of the plot. It's later revealed that he plants a listening device in her coat when he takes it from her.
Yeah, but we don't get any kind of hint that's happening. It's one of those, it's a setup, but we don't get to see the setup. We only get to see the payoff.
I do want to point out something that I thought about, though. You know how I've been mentioning all of these different outfits that she's wearing?
Yes.
She's always wearing a different jacket.
Yes. Did she?
Even going forward, she's always wearing a different jacket. What the fuck
At
is...
some point I noticed and started putting in notes like every scene about how she kept swapping her coats out. It's crazy. She has so many.
But if she has a listening device in her jacket, which she does, and she never wears that jacket again. What the fuck does it matter that it has a listening device in it?
I think it matters because she leaves it in her apartment.
Oh shit, you're right. You're so right.
So he can record what she's saying there. He's effectively bugged her apartment.
Oh damn.
Oh, wow.
1 point movie, 0 points Annie.
Well, okay. So when they're meeting, I want to point something out here. He quotes Machiavelli and she catches it and points it out to the audience so everyone knows who it is. And I wish that we could throw both of these characters into a volcano.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's a very British thing, going like, hey, have you remembered to study the classics? Because this is a thing that British people will do and will go like, oh my God, the classics.
Yeah, but you have to remember that they're not a real culture or a real country.
Absolutely.
So,
That's true.
That is true.
yeah. But we cut from this scene to the next scene where, do you remember that business card that she got when she was in the car with those Russian guys? So we go to this club, finally. It's only been like a third of the movie.
Right.
But she goes there in an amazing gold dress.
A
Love
sparkling dress. I'm a magpie. Just no notes.
Yeah, no. I just enjoy it. That's it.
Absolutely.
And we're getting like blasting music over the soundtrack, and I will give movie credit for I really like this shot a lot. She walks up to the bar, this music is blaring, and then a hand reaches from the right side of the frame and flicks a lighter to give her a light for her cigarette. And as the lighter flicks on, the diegetic music just rushes out, and we get very soft classical music. It's nice. It's a good shot.
Yeah, this is the camera movement there is good. I mean, they do a good job of moving the camera in this, which is important. Just before this scene, by the way, one other minor note I have is all throughout this movie, we got TV clips going in the background about how the East German government is on the brink of collapse.
Yeah, but the movie's not about this.
And they're so overwhelmed that they're not
It's very important.
that they're not even manning the checkpoints, even though we see them manning the checkpoints is a very important part of the plot. But more importantly, they are still enforcing the fucking dancing ban despite all of this.
Listen, this movie that is about how the grip on Germany is faltering, and everyone is like closing in, and Berlin is becoming like a nest of hornets, as they say later. That is not about the Berlin Wall falling. You cannot convince me. Anyway, what the fuck happens in this scene? She meets the KGB guy.
She meets him very briefly and is interrupted by the French lady.
Yeah. And of course, when we see the two hot women, the KGB guy immediately goes, threesome?
Right.
Bella Delphine is here. She does say to Charlize Theron, you looked like you needed saving, because she does the whole girl power sisterhood thing of chasing off the KGB guy.
Right.
On the nose film, I don't respect you. Stop it. And this is when I realized that she was not wearing a gold dress. She was wearing a gold fucking jumpsuit.
My God.
Is that that's a jumpsuit? Oh, God,
that is a jumpsuit. It's so good.
I'm stunned. But like she's saved, quote unquote, and then my notes say David Hasselhoff is mentioned for some reason.
Yes.
It's like, oh my God, David Hasselhoff is in West Berlin, and then just go, okay, how is this important? It's like, just remember the 80s. Please keep remembering the 80s.
Yes, it's just pointing out that the 80s happened. I'm amazed that they didn't have a character explain who he is.
I'm sorry, Liv, did you just say West Berlin?
West Berlin.
Okay, I thought you had ideology for a moment.
We, as members of this censorship board, do not have ideology.
Yeah, no.
We are objective members of the civil service of art censorship. Moving on.
Yeah, we go back to the watchmaker again.
Yeah.
Briefly. For her to pick up a watch. I guess he's in 3 scenes.
Oh God. My notes say, we know spy stuff exists, but only to make sure you remember this spy story is about spies.
Yes.
It's like, this is the scene where she gets out a map and like takes a watch apart and puts in the coordinates on the map. And I mean, sure, that's a way of conveying information, but also, since she went in and got a brown envelope, it could just be a list of things or a code word or something. Why a watch? it's not
Yeah,
inconspicuous at all.
Yeah.
I don't know. But the information that she gets is the location of a contact in East Germany that will like help her set up a network
Yes.
there. Or like there already is a network and she can make contact with it. It's not super clear.
Yeah, we cut to East Berlin, city I love to see, Trabants everywhere, and Atomic Blonde is going into a theater. Like, she's going next to a theater showing Stalker.
Yes.
My notes here say this movie is 10 years old at this point.
Yes.
But it's the Eastern Bloc. It's the Eastern Bloc. They don't show new things. They only get a new movie every 15 years.
Yeah, which is why they put up massive like billboards advertising this 10-year-old film.
Yeah, see, I thought the same thing, and then I went and looked up. Stalker was shown in East Germany in 1982 for the first time.
Oh,
7 years before this movie takes
Yes.
place.
still 3 years after it was made. Wow.
Yeah, that is interesting.
Okay. I mean, this whole thing just makes me wish I was watching Stalker instead.
Yes, that's the biggest problem with this sequence. They're not using Stalker for any sort of like narrative purpose. It's just to remind you that you could be watching a much better and more interesting movie.
Yeah,
One thing I do give this scene is that this movie theater looks sick.
yeah. But
It's so fucking cool.
this would be like someone's making a movie set in 2035 and going, oh, wow, look, they're putting on Oppenheimer in this theater in the West.
Yes.
I mean, we are going to get that kind of movie about the United States, right?
Definitely.
That's where it's going,
we are.
right?
Also, just a side note, if you're going to take an example of a good movie from 2023, I would not pick Oppenheimer.
Yeah, that's probably the most upsetting part of what you said.
Moving swiftly on, the reason we're going into this movie theater is because, of course, Atomic Blonde is being followed by the KGB, who are, they're not exactly inconspicuous.
Yeah, not even remotely.
We are entering the most baffling scene in this movie.
Yes.
So many things about this scene make no sense. I hate it. I hate it so much.
I don't know. I think we can just say cut to fighting location because this is the place where some fighting is going to take place.
That is accurate. But the most baffling thing about this scene is he's wearing a really schlubby hoodie. I don't like it.
I don't know. I'm kind of here for it. It's like I'm just like a cool gal from the West coming to do some work in the East.
She's wearing a schlubby hoodie with like thigh-high boots.
Okay, so she walks in on this screening of Stalker and sits down in the audience while the KGB guys are walking around, and they go right past her. They don't see her at all.
They are bad
And
at their
she
jobs.
slips out the side. Everything's peachy. Nobody has any idea that she's there. And she pulls the fire alarm for no fucking reason.
Yeah, she could just have left or hit
Well,
or something.
Okay, but like ostensibly, like what if there's somebody outside that's watching for her to leave?
You're right.
Okay, you pull the fire alarm. Crowd moves out. Now she can leave with the crowd. Like that's clever. That would have been a really cool spy thing.
Yeah, except she doesn't.
Yeah, makes sense. That would have been a cool thing to do
Except
if she did it.
Except she doesn't do that. She then goes like into the projector room or the back room behind the screen.
Yeah.
For no reason.
No,
You're
listen,
right.
there is a really, really good reason. It's so that we can see Stalker in the background in reverse while she beats the shit out of two KGB officers with some keys that she picked up earlier. Why did she pick up those keys out of the pocket? It is not commented on. She picked up the keys from the pocket so that she could stab a guy in the face with it.
Liv, I kid you not. I spent like 30 minutes staring at this movie, trying to figure out what it meant that they were having like this cool looking silhouetted fight scene within a frame of Stalker. And you know what conclusion I came to?
We thought it would look cool, so we did it.
God, I just wish I was watching Stalker.
Either way, fight scene concludes. They all live. I think we see them later on.
No.
Oh.
You have left out an equally baffling moment.
Yes.
Okay? They fall through the screen into the theater, which is empty because of the fire alarm. They fight for a bit, and the KGB guy, throws her off of the little raised platform, and then she just like vanishes. He can't find her, and then she's out of the theater.
She's just teleported out of the theater on him.
She's just gone.
She is just gone because she's gone to meet her contact, that guy from earlier. It's Bill Skarsgård in a yellow raincoat on the top of some building.
It's just a building.
Well,
Yeah, it's just a place.
yeah. he's sitting there. We can see the Berlin TV tower in the background, and he says, "Keep your enemies close," and then gives like a rude gesture to the TV tower. What? I did not get it. Like, who are the enemies? Like, is it East German state TV?
Yeah, this
my
scene
note
is
here,
baffling.
My note here is this movie is desperately trying to do an ideology, but is completely incoherent.
This movie doesn't actually believe in anything, so it tries to do ideology, but it just ends up being muddled and confusing.
Yeah. It's a tall tower. It sends TV. I think maybe there's also a restaurant somewhere in it that you can go visit.
Yeah, I ended up reading a little bit about this building. There's a restaurant at the top that like spins around, and I am told that everything on the menu is a little bit oversold. Nice to know.
We should visit sometime. Is it too early to say live show at the Berlin TV tower?
I think we had like 25 downloads on the last episode. It's a little early.
Yeah.
Update your passports is what I'm saying. And by update your passports, I mean get Bill Skarsgård to make you some, but we will get to that later.
Yeah, I don't think I can update my passport right now, hun.
Oh God. Yeah, turns out the real enemy will be revealed later on in this movie, and it's not the Soviets.
No. But I think this is where we cut once again to the watchmaker.
Yeah, as the Russian guy who killed the dude at the beginning, and he is not a character in this movie, this Russian guy. He is not a character. He has no purpose in this film. He doesn't do anything.
He is comrade inciting incident.
Yes, he comes in and sort of vaguely threatens the watchmaker and just leaves.
Yeah.
Okay, to be fair, he's trying to sell the list, and he's using the watchmaker as like a fence to do that.
Yeah, and this is the last time we're going to see the watchmaker.
Cut to Charlize Theron in a gorgeous little black dress with straps on the back. I love it. I want it.
She's in a club to meet Sofia Boutella. She told her about this club earlier. They're meeting in there, and that meeting goes from they meet each other to kissing within 30 seconds. And my notes say average transgender woman interaction.
Accurate. Very true.
So they meet, they make out in the bathrooms, and Atomic Blonde pulls the French spy lady's gun on her. Which, I mean, rude.
To be fair, her question is like, why do you have a gun?
Yeah, rude, but also same. Please do this to me. Please take my gun out and threaten me and then have sex with me.
I have a note here and I don't remember why I have it. I just have this French chick is starting to give me the impression the dancing band is worse than I thought.
What does that mean? Oh my God.
She also reveals in this scene with a gun to her head that like, it's my first time spying. Please be gentle with me. And then, they go have sex.
Okay. To be fair, as she's saying this, like her voice is cracking and she's clearly very scared. Like, it's a good performance, okay? She delivered a good performance.
I don't want to denigrate her. She's doing amazingly. I'm going to go, if I were to rank the people no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to rank anyone. She's doing great. She's doing amazing.
Yeah. Now, yes, they fuck.
They fuck. We cut back to the debriefing room and they ask her, so did you get any information from her? And she just goes, no.
Nope.
Yep. And then we cut to Percy just killing the Russian guy that we just saw meeting with the watchmaker.
Comrade inciting incident gets got with an ice pick.
So after all this buildup where it was like, oh, he's surely going to do something and be like a major character in this. No, he's just a henchman. He's just going to die.
Yeah. And he does pull a gun. So like he is getting ready to kill Percival and he just, gets moved on rather before.
Yeah. The scene is like, it just is. It's there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. I think this is how he gets the list, right?
Yeah.
And that's the entire point of this. This guy exists. He's not a real character. He's just a delivery vehicle for a list.
He is. Then we see Charlize Theron and Sofia Boutella, and they're smoking and, in bisexual lighting. Love everything about it. That doesn't go anywhere other than it goes to next location, which...
Again, just to imagine the buzzing in that room as those two are sitting there.
Yeah, just a hum, like the 2000 kilohertz hum in that location.
Yeah.
Next location is a viewing platform over the Berlin Wall, where you can go, if you're in the West, you can go and look over the wall.
Yeah, we see this scene, and I am hooting and hollering. I am so happy. Our
I
boy
am
is
so
back.
pissed during this
I'm
scene.
No, our man is back. John Goodman, national treasure.
John Goodman
He
is
there.
here.
I
This
am
is some of the worst dialogue of this movie, and this movie has really bad dialogue.
It's so bad. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's like John Goodman is here to tell you to move the story along of this movie, or I'm gonna have your French girlfriend killed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Stop fucking around and move the story forward.
Yeah,
But he says, he like describes how extensive the Berlin Wall is and says, despite that, 5,000 East Germans had the brass balls to escape. And I'm like, fuck you, movie.
yeah. We're reminded of the Berlin Wall, which is very important, and also is not in this movie. I cannot explicitly say how much it should not be in this movie.
Yeah.
We are once again reminded that history is over.
Yeah,
He does also he also says if this list gets out, a lot of hardworking folks are going to like a lot of good hardworking folks are going to show up dead. And I'm like, they're spies. They're not good people.
Yes.
yeah.
But she is wearing the same black reefer with cotton dress and thigh highs outfit with the green scarf.
Outfit we love to see.
Which honestly is the first sign that something's wrong. She's worn an article of clothing more than once.
Yeah, it's a problem.
I mean, I don't know, that suitcase that we see at the beginning of the movie is very, very, very small indeed. I'm not sure it could fit all of these outfits reliably.
Oh, I don't know if you caught this. When she gets into the car with the Russian guys, they ask if she has any checked bags, and she says no, they were sent. So
Oh, that makes sense.
she has more luggage.
Then we see James McAvoy looking at a microfilm, and if you freeze
Okay.
frame on these, you can see that like it has all of the names of the 5 people who are in this movie.
But I want to point out, he's like sitting there looking at the microfilm under a microscope, and he's like sitting there in the cuntiest pose known to man.
Yes, he absolutely is.
It's great.
Like, I can't describe it. It looks so stupid, but I love it. I love it. It's so good.
I love that, like, you know, one of the cool things about film is that it's a very holistic medium, you know, like everything is done intentionally, everything is planned out, everything was a decision somebody made for some reason, right? It might not necessarily be an artistic choice, sometimes it's a practical choice, but everything was a decision of some kind.
Yeah, see, I didn't notice.
Someone directed him to sit there in just the gayest little pose.
It's great. Although I didn't really take note of it because that's also how I sit when I watch microfilm.
Of course.
Yeah, the twice a week that you do that.
Okay, we go to a sex club ? That's used for 30 seconds. And
Yeah, and the camera movement in this scene gives me a headache.
it's very fast.
But yeah. The important thing about that last scene is that he finds out who Satchel is.
Yes,
Which again, that's what the actual plot of this movie is.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
The list is nothing to do with this movie.
people want the list, but ultimately it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it has no actual bearing on the outcome of events.
But before we move on, I do want to point out we cut briefly to her in her hotel room where she is wearing a striped sweater dress off the left shoulder. Love it. Want it.
Hello, friends. It was at this point during the recording of the podcast that we realized that Annie had been recording into the wrong microphone this entire time. She got a new one. It sounds much better. She wasn't using it. Anyway, we swapped microphones and then started recording again. So now you know.
So we go to some kind of kink space in Berlin, which, I mean, of course there's going to be a kink space.
Of course.
James McAvoy remarks on it by saying something quite sexist.
Look at all these hedonists. It's like a beautiful woman gone wrong. I fucking love it.
And I mean, same. Beautiful woman gone wrong, it's me.
Okay.
Although, and this scene, of course, establishes nothing. It goes.
Yeah, I
it goes
honestly forgot
nowhere.
about this scene.
Lorraine is wearing a beautiful lacy dress. That's it.
Amazing. And we cut to a scene with Charlize Theron and Sophia Boutella having just fucked, I want to say.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Yeah, and Charlize says, these relationships aren't real, they're just a means to an end. Which is a horrible thing to say after having just fucked someone.
Yeah, there is a scene just before this where we see Percy meeting with the KGB guy that was established earlier on as the primary enforcer of the dancing ban.
Oh, right. This is where he gets photographed by Sophia Boutel.
Yeah. So he's doing some double agent, we don't know who's on whose side bullshit here.
Yeah.
Making some kind of deal.
He is secretly also anti-dancing.
Yes.
I mean, he must be. Otherwise, why would he be a double agent? Anyway, we're going back to the east. Charlize Theron and James McAvoy are going back to East Germany, and we know this because they are in the Berlin underground, I want to say.
It's not clear.
Yeah, it looks like they are.
Either way, they immediately go to Bill Skarsgård's secret computer hideout where they make false passports.
Yeah, so there's a plan to get Spyglass and his family across the Berlin Wall. That's the whole point of this sequence.
It is, although it's not the plan to get his family across, only him. Because, of course, spies are evil and they just want to use people.
Yeah. The guy shaves his mustache off, Spyglass does, and he doesn't look any different.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice in the first viewing that he shaved.
This bit is packed. This bit is packed with jokes because when they first meet Spyglass, Charlize Theron looks at him and goes, "You smell like a Stasi officer," which is just
no. And then she gives him soap, and it's use this Western soap. It's better.
Yeah, and I mean, there is something to say about the cultural divergences between the East and the West, and I'm sure there's something to it. It's just, it feels like, remember the 80s. Remember this thing happening.
Yeah, and that's the biggest problem that I have with a lot of these movies that are trying to do the 80s now. It's just weren't the 80s so cool? It's no, you thought they were cool because you were 9 years old.
Yeah. You were
Listen,
a child.
we started this movie with a Ronald Reagan jump scare. That should remind everyone that the 80s were not good.
Right.
Of course, Spyglass is terrified that he's going to die crossing. Although he's a Stasi officer, so he could probably just go through the border crossing without anyone actually alerting someone.
I mean, the Western. Well, no. They know by this point that he's a traitor.
Okay. But 50, 60 minutes ago in this movie, he could just have gone yeah, I'm a Stasi officer, let me through. Or I'll have you sent into the secret torture prison.
Right.
Yeah, at the beginning of the movie, he could have just done it. Instead of going to see Percival, he could have just gone to the wall.
Either way, he is worried, and Charlize Theron says,
I've never lost a package.
Promise.
This scene is intercut with the KGB setting up a sniper position so they can take out Spyglass with an SVD Dragunov, which is a very large gun indeed.
Yeah. So they know what the entire plan is because James McAvoy told them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then Charlize Theron is oh, we're also going to bring Spyglass's family. And he's family. No, I didn't want to kill them. But he's sure, we'll do it anyway. And then he's listen, Charlize Theron, you take Spyglass, I'll take the wife and kid. And we'll go separately so that you can just focus on the important person and I'll focus on the unimportant people.
Yeah.
And then they walk out into this demonstration against the Berlin Wall that's going on in the East. And I actually do really like this scene for about 15 seconds.
When they're doing the aerial shots and the zooming between them in order to just go from a really wide overhead into zooming in and getting a good view of where our actual characters are within this massive crowd.
Yeah, and that's a really cool idea because then it's oh, there's this massive demonstration going on and here's where our characters are so that we know and we can care about it. But at the same time, they don't know that the KGB are clocking exactly where they are the entire time. And I just love that. It's very spy. It's very espionage. And then they're everyone in the crowd fucking pulls up an umbrella when.
Yeah, it turns out, oh no, they were aware. And all of the people in the crowd were apparently plants and they all activate their anti-sniper umbrellas at the same time.
Yes, and at this moment, I hate this movie again.
So
and
dumb.
Yeah, and after this happens, the KGB guy that has a sniper trained on spyglass is like, I can't see anything. The umbrellas.
This
I'm
man who has
yeah.
no respect for the intelligence of the audience is announcing to the audience, oh no, these objects that are clearly meant to block my vision are doing the thing they're meant to do.
I was so mad.
Yeah. Not to worry though, because Percival is not loyal to the cause at all and just immediately shoots Spyglass in the stomach.
It should be pointed out he shoots Spyglass like with a silenced pistol from across the street, so nobody knows that he did.
Yeah, and through a crowd without aiming.
Yeah.
Yeah, so nobody knows that he did this. That is like a plot relevant thing.
Yeah, I mean, if we're doing cinema sins things here, I would note that like suppressed pistols are still very, very, very loud. They just don't ruin your hearing.
Suppressed pistols are also quite inaccurate.
Oh god. But anyway, he's shot with the exposition gun, and like
yeah,
and
yeah, it's loaded with plot bullets. It can only kill people that the script says need to die.
yeah,
yes,
and he's run into a building by Charlize Theron, and my notes say if I was shot in the stomach, I don't think I'd be running anywhere.
yeah.
That is, it depends on what was damaged in the stomach. Like, if you only went through...
I was more thinking of from the pain, but yes.
Yeah, it seems like the pain would be the main problem.
Oh, see, that's not where my brain goes.
Either way, like be that as may, he's shot with the exposition gun, and they run into the next fight location.
Yeah. They enter the first building they see, which happens to be full of KGB agents.
It happens to be the building that contained the sniper nest from earlier.
Yeah.
which is serendipitous, to say the least. This fight scene, and I just say I love to see it. I really enjoy seeing KGB offices being just demolished by a beautiful woman.
It also, once again, blows up the visual language of the film because we get this very long, it's a fake single take, but they are faking a single take, and it's all shot handheld, and it looks like it was a nightmare to choreograph and film.
Oh, it must have been.
Yes. See, all I could think while I was watching this hallway fight scene was, wow, this is like Old Boy. I wish I was watching Old Boy.
Now I'm wishing I was watching Old Boy. One thing I have noticed is every time, like Charlize Theron, every time she's handed a firearm by the movie, in this case, she said something, she checks the chamber to see if she's ready to fight, which I quite like.
I did notice that, and I also liked it.
Yeah. Just pulls the slide back and just goes, oh, okay, we are good to go. And then, she shoots a man in the knee and then the head, and I really, really like this scene. I just wish there was more of this in the movie.
Yeah, it's the only part where it feels like they cared about what they were doing. And it blows things up because it's the only handheld part of the entire thing. They did a really...
I kind of like the way it is handheld.
Yeah.
Because it's not too much.
Right. They're not going full shaky cam.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
impressive that they managed to make the action look good. Because a lot of the reason you get so much like fast cutting and shaky cam in action scenes is that it tends to look really silly if you just watch people do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was speaking derisively about this scene. It is quite good. Like, this scene is very well made.
One thing, and I think this is the place where it's worth to note that David Leitch is, of course, used to be a stuntman, and is the co-creator of John Wick. Yeah, and like with that in mind, you can sort of see the way firearms are handled, except for that silent exposition pistol, and the way the stunts are handled. It's quite a good movie. Although I am just now reminding myself of John Wick movie where people are shooting at each other with suppressed pistols in a crowd and no one notices. So,
at the end of this fight, we do also have a moment that I think is important to the thesis statement of the movie. She is fighting a KGB guy, and he calls her a bitch, and then she like shoots him in the throat and says, "Am I a bitch now?" It's very girl boss. I hate it.
Yeah. There is also a wonderful, wonderful fight scene in a room with rugs on the walls. I called it the rug room fight scene. And It's a fight scene and it's nice in itself, but I did notice that at some point the camera pans all the way around the actors without us seeing anyone else, which means the people in that room were camera person, possibly one other person for sound, maybe, and then the 3 actors.
It was all in CG. They did the whole thing in CG.
The rug room fight is like one of the fights I do actually genuinely like, because it's the most like a real fight, and then it's sloppy and nobody's really that good at what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're exhausted.
They're improvising.
They're just kind of flopping around as they're trying to hurt each other. That's an authentic fight.
I wouldn't know.
And then, of course, our man in the KGB, he gets corkscrewed, which is just not a good way to go, I imagine.
Yeah.
Seems less than ideal.
Yeah, they escape by stealing a car from an East German police officer, who is one of the few police officers in this movie who is not beaten until he's unconscious. He's just told to get on the ground. They go in the car. A flock of seagulls, Iran plays while they're in a car gunfight with some more KGB officers, I imagine.
And let me say,
Probably.
great work by the makeup department making her look all fucked up and gross.
She looks
Yeah.
so fucked up. In the this is also the scene where Spyglass, a man who's been shot in the stomach and is actively dying, says, "You should work on your German."
Yes.
It's like, maybe time and place.
It's a baffling line. I don't understand why they put it in there.
Like, this movie has no consistent tone.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
Although it does go back to one of my earlier notes that I skipped over that says, no one in the spy movie set in Germany really speaks German.
You're so right. I didn't think about that.
That's so funny.
Except for the one scene with the fight police where they have all the kids on their knees and he speaks German in an Icelandic accent, and I hated every second of it. I would rather just not hear it. Fuck it, make him an Icelandic officer or something.
Well, as they're driving away from the fight scene building, the back of their car, like their car window, gets shot out, and at this point, they all get hurt locker.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I really like this sound bit, like of it going all quiet and them going, "Oh fuck, we're being shot at." But then the movie immediately reverts that decision and goes, "No, actually, we need to hear a flock of seagulls at full volume now again." Either way, it doesn't matter because they're driving and they're driving into traffic, and the big black bat SUV is like it's lightly touched by a truck and flies 10 meters.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the truck, the truck is just unharmed, and the SUV is just gone.
Oh yeah. That thing gets fucking obliterated.
It gets obliterated.
It's a very cool spectacle. It has to have been so much fun to shoot.
That is true.
It must have
I
been.
mean, I imagine that everybody filming this movie, had a blast.
I think so.
Definitely.
I mean, it feels like, except, oh god, Johannes Hakur Johannesson.
Who? What?
That sure is a name.
That is sure that the man playing Bakhtin, the comrade exposition.
Ah, okay.
Oh yeah.
That is the most Icelandic name ever uttered.
It is.
Yes, it is.
Either way, it doesn't matter, because when we finally think, okay, the action is over, they made it out, the little Trabant with East German police markings is rammed by another SUV and just sent straight into the Spree River in November, by the way. So this water is cold.
Yeah, that's I think the first thing that someone says when they get in the water.
Oh, that would have sucked. But it's a nice underwater scene. Like the car underwater and having Charlize Theron and what's his name? Eddie Marsan?
Spyglass.
Yeah, as he makes a half-assed effort to free his leg, which was destroyed when the car got T-boned.
Yeah.
And the car slowly fills with water.
Yeah, at this point, he dies, presumably from blood loss.
Hopefully, because otherwise he drowned in like 15 seconds.
Man needs to work on his lung capacity.
And she is good for like another minute.
Yeah. She escapes back to East Berlin. She's not doing too well. She like wanders the street with a blanket around her.
Yeah, but luckily she's saved by Bill Skarsgård, who is in East Berlin.
He just randomly finds her.
Yeah, because everyone knows everyone in Berlin, the city of spies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are only 18 people total in Berlin.
Yeah.
Clearly.
Yeah, so like she gets sat down in his computer and passport factory, like warmed up while he goes get them transport. And this is the point where I scream a little because he goes ask a guy, hey, who is okay, the scene is set as there's a guy spray painting on a wall while he's wearing a surplus gas mask. And he's asked, hey, can I borrow your car? And handed some cigarettes.
Yeah, because East Berlin is prison.
Yeah, East Berlin is prison. And then it's revealed that this car is, of course, it's a Volvo on diplomatic plates, which means they could have just stuffed spyglass in this car and driven it out, because that's what happens with Charlize Theron. She's just driven through a checkpoint, and the
They could have
gas
just
got
driven the Volvos straight to fucking Mordor.
They could have done whatever they wanted because they have this car.
I had a note here that I can't tell the difference between a really nice car and a shitty car from the 80s. And that's what I love about 80s cars. They all look like shitty cars. They're all weird little boxes that are kind of ugly. It's perfect. It's impossible to tell the difference in 80s cars between a 911 and a Chevy Citation. And I just think that's wonderful.
Yeah, is this a nice car? I have no idea. But we get to see Bill Skarsgård sound even more Swedish when he passes through the checkpoint.
Yes.
So we cut back to what David Percival's been up to. He got the wife and son to West Berlin. They're talking to John Goodman, CIA man, and he's like, "Oh, we're so sorry that Spyglass is dead. That sucks." But the main reason that I care about this scene is that he talks to Percival, who says, "Charlize Theron failed. That really sucks. Women are always getting in the way of progress, aren't they?" And I flagged this line as being the thesis statement of the film. Okay?
He does sound like he's being facetious there, but yeah.
Yes. No, my point is, this movie is not about anything except girl bossing. That is the point of this movie.
Is this a point where James McAvoy says,
You can't unfuck what's been fucked.
Yes.
Yeah. I hate that you're right. And this is absolutely, at the end of the day, this is all about girl bossing. That's what this movie is.
This movie is in the backdrop of the end of the Cold War, one of the most significant political upheavals in modern history. And they decide to make it about girl bossing. And I am so upset by that. And to represent this, we get an upside down shot of Charlize Theron because she feels turned
It really
upside
does
down.
make you think. It also, it oddly enough is similar to the first shot we got of Percival, which I don't think has anything to do. I don't think there's any relationship between those. I think that they just decided to do that because they thought it looked interesting.
It is at this point that Bella Delphine calls Percival, and I have a direct quote from that phone call. Please come here and kill me. I have evidence that you are a turncoat. Please kill me.
I like that you basically said exactly what I was going to say.
that is what happens. And then we cut to, is this when we cut to her wearing headphones and a lingerie in her own apartment?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's hanging out, she's developing some photographs and wearing headphones, which you should never do in your own apartment because you're going to get killed.
Yeah. If you put on headphones while fucking doing something distracting, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
I've watched a lot of movies.
I have some notes here about this scene because first of all, she also has bisexual lighting in her apartment, of course.
Well, that's how I develop bisexual photos.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But also, when James McAvoy enters the scene, it's not shot directly at the actress. It's a little from below, and sort of it's shot like a rape scene. It's very uncomfortable to watch.
God. We fucking hate a rape-coded murder scene.
It's like I look at her and go like, oh, he's gonna. I think we've seen a lot of people get shot in this movie. Like so many people get domed off, but no. But this one feels like it's got to be closer and more disgusting. It's got to be strangulation, and it's just ugh.
Yeah, and once again, this movie has no consistent tone because this is a brutal murder scene. Awful, hate to see it. Like genuinely content warning.
This is the other really good scene in terms of the action, just kind of being like this sloppy fucking battle between the characters.
But in the middle of this, she is able to stab him like between the shoulder blades with a knife. And he like kind of, gets hurt by this, but doesn't really care until he's exhausted from the effort of trying to kill her. And he falls backwards onto the door and jams it further into his back and starts screaming in pain and trying to grab it, and he can't reach it. Very funny. Right in the middle of a rape-coded murder scene.
Yeah. I also have in my notes, bisexual lighting when only two women are present is amazing. It's sexy, it's hot, it's consensual. I love everything about it. When it's a man and a woman, it's rape-coded immediately.
Yeah. She knows that he's coming because, of course, she
told him to come and kill
her. So she's hidden a gun under her pillows that she spends the entire scene trying to get to, but can't find. And he strangles her to death on the bed. And he then immediately flees, and Charlize Theron comes in through the door right after that. And we cut to show her seeing the dead lady now on the floor. So she like migrated in that time.
And then we get slow, sad 99 Luftballon. And my notes say, like, just couldn't you find an 80s track that was sad? You had to go and re-record an iconic number and like make it slow and sad.
She's so sad.
Yeah, we're asked to feel sad.
Let me play her the world's smallest Luftballon. And then I have, Berlin Wall coming down over scenes of betrayal and loss. So deep.
Yes. It really does make you think.
Yeah, the main characters have a breakthrough moment, and that is the wall is coming down.
But this movie is not about the Berlin Wall.
This movie is not about the Berlin Wall.
Yeah, it's not about that one.
This movie is not about the Berlin Wall.
James McAvoy gets to monologue again directly to camera.
Okay.
The second time it happens.
I liked this monologue, okay? And let me defend my position.
Oh no, I also liked it. But I think I like it because if it's straight out of the comic book, then it might have been one of the small good things in this movie.
I'm sure that it did come straight out of the comic book. But let me talk about why I love this monologue. Because he's right? Like, what he says over the course of this monologue is essentially that when you work in espionage, when you're a spy, nothing really matters and things get crisscrossed. And at the end of the day, everything you're doing is for your own ends. And you can convince yourself that those are for political reasons or high-minded ideology. But at the end of the day, all I know is that I fucking love Berlin.
I fucking love Berlin.
And it's like, it's a good line read.
It is.
I hate it though. I hate it so much. It's such a stupid line.
Okay, whatever.
It's a ridiculous thing to say as someone's about to shoot you in the face.
It's very out of place for a movie that is largely watched as like a third character. We're always observing, watching these people, what they're doing, except for these 2 points in the movie where we're directly addressed.
It's super annoying because I didn't say this. It is framed as though James McAvoy is talking directly to the camera. And then we find out in a reverse shot that he's talking to Charlize Theron.
Yeah, and the monologue doesn't totally make sense when you consider that he's actually talking to Charlize Theron during this.
It absolutely doesn't.
Which makes it even more confusing.
It makes way more sense if he is just breaking the fourth wall. But what I like about it, truly, is not only that he's right, but that the movie doesn't have the balls to just go with that as the theme. As we find out later, this all did totally mean something. She stopped the Cold War.
Right.
This was all for something. This movie had a thesis statement it could have made and then pulled it away at the last second.
Yeah, it is very much the actual movie takes place in the last 15 minutes of the movie. Everything else feels a little superfluous.
This is the point where they reveal what the actual plot was the entire time.
We then cut back to the future where she's still being debriefed by her leaders at MI6. And she has cut together a doctored audio tape.
Oh, right. Yes, she's manufacturing evidence.
Yeah, she's cut together a manufactured tape of James McAvoy talking to the KGB guy. being like, I'm Satchel. I killed everyone. That kind of bullshit. They're all like, oh no, our station chief was a traitor. We're going to bury this. You're free to go. Goodbye, Charlize Theron. Then she goes to Paris.
Yeah, there's an important part in this conversation where she's doing the final, part of the interview where she starts like really getting up in the fucking British guy's shit. And all I could think was, I assume after she's done with this dumb monologue about like, well, who are you? And he's like, oh, I'm your superior and all that they just take her in a back room and shoot her, right? Like, it's the only logical way for this to go at this point. She's being a total shit. These are people who kill people for a living. Like, come on. These are the most unscrupulous fucking ghouls on the planet. And we're having this like, I'm super cocky because I won thing.
Honey, you just went to Berlin on a mission where you killed a bunch of people entirely to prevent these people's crimes from becoming public.
Yes.
What are you doing here? But in Paris, she is wearing an amazing red jacket and a black jumpsuit. Oh,
a beautiful fit. And she's meeting Bremovich. It's
remember him? He was in this movie.
Yeah, remember him from like the beginning of this movie? He also he maybe he hates dancing. It's a little unclear, but what he does love is killing people he works with, because that's immediately what happens.
No, okay.
Well, he tries.
Okay. I hate this scene so much more than I can express. Okay? Okay.
Yeah.
So he says to her, Percival told me who you are. Okay? Meaning, Percival told me that you're Satchel. Okay? Who is Satchel?
We don't know. We have not been told this yet.
No, Liv. Explain to... No, not who. What is the identity of Satchel? What do we know about Satchel at this point in the film, Liv?
That it's a person that exists in the context of the story.
What we know about Satchel is that they are a KGB double agent.
Wait, we do?
Yes.
Yes.
Fuck
we
me,
do know that.
I lost that completely.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. The movie barely seems to know it. But they make it pretty clear that Satchel is known to be, or like thought to be, a Western spy, but is actually working for the KGB.
This is a movie that has a character explain to the audience who Sinead O'Connor was, but also it doesn't like make it clear that everybody's after Satchel and Satchel is a double agent.
Yeah. So when Bremovich says, Percival told me who you are, parentheses, that you're Satchel, why would you need someone that doesn't work for you to tell you that someone that works for you works for you? And then, much more baffling than that, why would you kill a double agent that works for you because she works for you?
Yeah.
Right.
It makes no sense. It doesn't make a single lick of sense.
They've been setting this up all movie, and the way they've been setting it up all movie doesn't make sense in the context of the thing that they've been setting up.
All I can say is no fucking wonder the Soviets lost the Cold War if this is the shit they pull.
Charlize Theron says to Comrade Bremovich, for a moment I thought you would kill me, and then immediately after she's like, when she's read that line, a KGB execution squad enters the hotel room with like a little piece of plastic that she can get executed on.
Including goon number 3, who he was the driver in the car at the beginning and also the one that T-boned him and sent him into the river.
Oh.
No, but he was also the guy that said, what are you doing? You're my coworker. I work with you.
Yeah.
What is happening? What are these people's motivations?
So bizarre.
I don't understand.
You don't have to worry about it for a second, because luckily in the ice bucket from the Stolichnaya, there is a gun that was planted by...
An ice bucket. Ice buckets.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I know what this symbolizes.
Yeah.
The ice bucket challenge.
Wow. But we get a very competent fight scene, which I like to see. She uses bullet time to murder some dudes.
As you do.
As you do. And of course, it's then revealed in like some I want to say slow-mo shots of her leaving the building that it's Bill Skarsgård who was there. He's moved from his rooftop saying fuck you to the TV tower to do some freelance contracting in Paris.
He's now saying fuck you to the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, that's right. And then Atomic Blonde boards a jet, and who's on that jet? It's John Goodman, guy we love to see. It turns out she was working for the CIA all along. Yes. And then the movie ends.
Yeah, there's a reveal in here, and it's a little bit more subtle because you have to be paying attention to what she's doing accent-wise. She switches to an American accent.
Oh, she does.
She switches to an American accent. I was listening for the American accent. She's got like 2 lines that are 3 words each in the American accent.
Right, it's hard to detect because she doesn't talk enough to actually hear the difference.
They should have given her like a 6-word sentence so that you could really catch that she was switching accents. I don't know why it was written this way.
But yeah, so it turns out she was actually a triple agent the whole time.
Yeah.
A double agent.
And she successfully ended the Cold War single-handedly, working for the good old CIA.
Oh, right. There is a line when she's killing Comrade Exposition in the hotel room. She is saying that everything you gave me was a bullet in my gun, and everything I gave you was like something you could shoot yourself with.
No, it's worse than that. She says everything that I gave you was a tear in the Iron Curtain.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because there's like, this movie isn't about the Berlin Wall, but it's here. I made it.
This movie is about like girl bossing, and they make it like, oh, she girl bossed her way to ending the Cold War. And what they accidentally say is that the CIA is the only good guys in the Cold War.
Yeah,
yes. The CIA, the totally unproblematic CIA.
Yeah. And that's the movie.
Thank God we got through it. Oh my God.
It was... None of us got through this in one sitting.
No, I had
to multiple tries.
It took me 3 tries to watching.
No, I was sitting in voice with Elissa, like staring at a still from the movie, just saying, I have to keep watching. I have to keep watching this movie. I can't do it.
And of course, there is love in my heart for this movie. There's love in my heart for this slop. And I think it is mostly carried by Charlize Theron and her love for it.
Yeah, I think there are 2 things here for a viewer if you have to watch this movie. One is Charlize Theron is Charlize Theron. If you're super into Charlize Theron, good news, there's a lot of her.
If you like East or West German cops being beat to shit, you will have a field day in this movie.
Yes. A third thing, if you really need something to get you through it, remember that there is a rule with dumb action movies, which is that if you really want to have fun, don't watch the choreography. Watch the guys that are waiting to get their asses kicked. They're always standing in the background with like their hands jammed down their pants, trying to figure out how to work a gun out of there. And they get the thing out just in time to like try to punch the protagonist with the gun instead of just shooting, and they always end up getting their heads blown off. And it's really entertaining when you watch that part of it.
Every action hero in the history of cinema has a single superpower, and it is the power of everybody will come at me one at a time.
Yep.
It truly is. But of course, we also have, as our power of censors, we have to really rate this movie. It's going to be a tricky one, I admit. But I think with some heavy editing and maybe restructuring and reshooting of some scenes, this could be saved and released to the public.
Hell no, burn this shit to the ground, salt the earth. It should be banned, and the people that created it should be rounded up and sent to re-education.
I want the stills of Charlize's outfits to remain in posterity as part of a fashion textbook, and otherwise slash it all, burn it away.
Harsh.
This movie is slop, and unless you're a little piggy that likes to drink up slop from the ground, you will not enjoy it.
And with all that being said, I've been Liv, your first among equals. With me, of course, Annie and Elissa, my wonderful censors, here to bid you goodbye. And of course, the next item on the list for the Board of Censors is, I believe, Annie's choice.
Yes. And rather than watching something, I have decided that next time we are going to read a short story from one of my favorite science fiction authors, Charles Stross. We are going to read Snowball's Chance.
Well, that
I have no idea what that is.
I have no words, but I imagine that I will get some when I get to reading it.
Okay, well, on that note, see you in a week.